CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown.
And hello, everyone. I'm Juan Fernandez. Here's a look at your top stories. We begin with breaking news this afternoon. Former President Donald Trump has been found guilty on all 34 counts in his New York criminal trial. He is now the first president in U.S. history to be convicted of a crime. KCAL News reporter Michael George has the very latest from Manhattan.
Donald Trump is now the first former president to be convicted of a crime.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Trump was charged with falsifying business records in connection with money his former fixer Michael Cohen paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election to keep her quiet about an alleged sexual encounter. Prosecutors argued that Trump reimbursed Cohen, but disguised the payments as legal expenses, amounting to a criminal scheme to corrupt the election.
Do you have any messages for Donald Trump today?
As the prosecution's star witness, Cohen testified Trump personally approved the plan to disguise the payments. Cohen, who's a convicted felon, faced intense grilling by the defense, who attacked his credibility and his motives. Jurors also got to hear from Stormy Daniels, who offered graphic details about her 2006 encounter with Trump, which he denies. The jury was comprised of 7 men and 5 women and included 2 lawyers as well as a teacher and a speech therapist. Trump maintains this trial, like his other criminal indictments, are all politically motivated and that he's done nothing wrong. Michael George, KCAL News.
And sentencing is scheduled for July 11th. But in the meantime, here with more insight and reaction is Alalay Cameron, state and federal criminal defense attorney. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me, Juan. It's a pleasure being here on this day.
Well, you know, a lot of people are talking about this. First of all, what was your first reaction when you heard of the verdict?
You know, as a criminal defense attorney, we don't like to hear guilty verdicts. I can tell you that to start with. It's a very somber day for the nation as a whole. I think it is a very sad statement for the nation as a whole that we now have an ex-president who is convicted. But it also restores my faith in the criminal justice system, to know that our system works, to know that 12 members of the jury of the community sat for 7 weeks and dedicated their time and lives to this case of monumental importance. It restores my faith in the criminal justice system, and it restores my faith in the jury system. I'm proud to be an American today.
You're absolutely right about that. If he would have been found not guilty, a lot of people would have said his fame, his money got him out of a predicament. So what happens next here in this case?
So that we now move to sentencing, and both parties will have the opportunity to present their case to the judge. These are 34 felony counts. They're granted. They're Class E felony counts, which is the lowest level of felony that is available in New York. It doesn't mean that he's going to do 34 counts times maximum of 4 years. It means that the judge has discretion to sentence him up to 4 years and give him actually probation. In light of the fact that he doesn't have any priors and he is an ex-president on the campaign trail, I would highly doubt that he's going to get sentenced. And even if he is sentenced to jail, he's going to get sentenced to some probationary type of sentence, community service, but jail is highly unlikely in this case.
Yeah, that's what I was reading regarding that most likely he'll be getting some sort of probation. And of course, you hear the word felony and automatically, you know, it does sound so serious, but you're telling us here that this Class E felony is the lowest type of felony in New York State. Is that right?
Right. Very much like what we have in California. We have a lot of low-grade felonies that are nonviolent, and the defendants on first-time offenses do not go to jail, are granted probation. So it's very much like California.
And you, as a defense attorney, my next question here is, how likely is it that Trump's team will file an appeal?
Absolutely. They have to file an appeal. It would almost be malpractice not to.
Right.
They have to.
What does that entail? I mean, he's already left the court. We're watching the motorcade there on the screen, leaving the area here. What does that appeal entail? How soon will it happen? What does happen?
Generally speaking, the appeal must be filed either within 30 or 60 days of the sentence being pronounced. Once the appeal has been filed, then transcripts are prepared and the docket for appeal gets prepared and documents, briefs are written and lodged. That takes about 6 to 9 months for the appeal to be heard. If it's really, really quick, I don't know. But the judge may decide to stay the sentence pending the finding by the Court of Appeals, a judgment by the Court of Appeals, or he may just execute the sentence and have Mr. Trump do what he's supposed to do. I
see. And do you think that this verdict will have any effect on his presidential campaign moving forward?
Oh, if I had the answer to that, I would not be sitting here. I'd be doing other things. But I don't think so. I think his base loves him regardless. And I think there's a tiny percentage that will be persuaded one way or the other.
And being found guilty, does that affect his ability to vote? Can a convicted felon vote?
It's a great question. Because he's a citizen of Florida, Florida has a law that defers interpretation to the state law of the jurisdiction where he's convicted. Because in New York, a convicted felon that does not go to prison, let me say it another way. In New York, a convicted felon who doesn't go to prison will not lose his right to vote. Therefore, in Florida, they will defer to that law. However, if this had happened in Florida, Governor DeSantis's laws, as they are, would disenfranchise him of the right to vote.
I see. And before we let you go here, looking into your defense attorney crystal ball, what's the next step here, and what do you see when all this is wrapped up and it's over?
I think there's going to be, I'm hoping that there's going to be a period of reflection and a period of discussion about our criminal justice system. And I hope that the campaign that Mr. Trump is going to wage from here on is going to be a better campaign and not an attack on our American constitutional system and not on our justice system. This is a constitutional country. We have a constitution. We have a justice system. Personal politics should not dismantle the system.
Very good. All right, Alalay Cameron, criminal defense attorney, you were absolutely fantastic. Thanks for your insight. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, have a great rest of your week. All right. And stay with CBS News Los Angeles for more on the historic verdict against former President Donald Trump. We will hear more from legal experts about what this means coming up right here at 4 p.m. Now to a frightening scene on the 110 freeway after a man was seen throwing rocks on lanes, actually hitting a motorcyclist. KCAL News reporter Amanda Starantino is following this story.
I'm Amanda Starantino in downtown Los Angeles. Today we're working on a story of a video you might have already seen of a shocking moment on the 110 freeway this morning where a man is throwing rocks onto the freeway from the shoulder, and then a motorcyclist just completely slides out. Thankfully, the cars behind him came to a quick stop, and the motorcyclist was miraculously able to get up and walk off safely and is not hurt. But now CHP is saying, hey, why didn't anyone call us for more than an hour after all of this happened? As look, CHP's right here. All of this happened just minutes away on the freeway. They could have gotten there pretty quick, so they would have liked to respond a lot sooner than they were able to. So coming up on KCAL News, we're going to talk to CHP. We're also talking to the man who saw all of this happen, filmed it all on his camera, and he talked to all the people involved. So that's going to be coming up on KCAL News.
All right, there is still some major confusion as to why pelicans keep turning up sick across the state. Today, our Michelle Geely spoke to wildlife experts about the new efforts to try and figure out what's going on.
I'm back at the Wetlands and Wildlife Care Center in Huntington Beach, and behind me here, what's going on is veterinarians and other biologists and specialists are putting silver bands around the legs of pelicans. These were starving pelicans brought in here to the center, rehabilitated. They are now fat and happy and will be released back into the wild. But before that's done, these silver bands are being placed around their legs so they can keep track. That is, the experts can keep track of these particular pelicans. Also, what's happening today, of the 24, 3 of these pelicans are going to have transmitters put on their legs. This is something that has never been done before here out of the Wetlands and Wildlife Care Center. There's a group from UC Davis here that is taking part in this, and I'm going to walk up to Debbie McGuire and have you kind of just give me in layman's terms how these transmitters work and why it's so important.
Oh, these transmitters are great. So they are radio frequency, and they have a solar-powered battery on them. They've made them, shrunk them down so they're tiny, and they fit in a leg band or a little bracelet that'll be on them. So they're going to get 2 bracelets. These, one's white, that'll correspond the number of that transmitter that we put on the other leg, and this. There's 750 stations throughout the world that track these notice devices. So we'll track the movement of these birds. Where are they going? Are they doing okay? Are they finding food? Are they foraging? Are they migrating like they should? It just gives us so much information. Or if that tag just stays in one area for a while, then we might have to worry about that bird. Is something going on? What's happened? So we're going to know a lot.
And this has never happened here before, has it?
No. This is a fairly new apparatus with it being in the lake band itself. So we've been trying for about a year to put it together, and we've had one issue and catastrophe and thing that we've worked with, that we've been facing, as you know. And finally, Deborah, who runs this project, called me yesterday. She was, I'm gonna overnight something, and I'm like, yes, finally.
So now 3 bands have arrived,
yes.
And we should tell you that these pelicans that have been banded and the ones that will be fitted with the transmitters, they are going to be released tomorrow and in the subsequent days because they are ready to go back to the ocean, back to their habitat. And now there is a way for the experts to track them, to try and get data and determine why it is that these pelicans are starving. That is the $64,000 question, and there is no answer at this point.
All right, we'll hear more from Michelle coming up in just a bit here at 4. Turning now to your weather. It was a tale of 2 climates in our region, cool along the coast and near triple digits for some inland areas. KCAL News meteorologist Marina Jurica has the details now in your next weather forecast. Marina?
Juan, I like that. Tale of 2 climates.
Yeah.
That's really good. So we are looking at really like a tale of 2 completely different stories, depending on if you're near the coast or if you are inland. But we did see the bulk of our viewing area clear up from the fog and the marine layer today, which is great. So we're pretty much status quo all the way through your TGIF and the upcoming weekend before we start to shake things up a little bit next week into some positive changes. But Malibu right now, beautiful, crystal clear. All the fog is way out into the Pacific, and we're looking at cooler temperatures, 64 degrees, and that cooler trend with the May gray going into June gloom. Can't believe we're saying goodbye to May tomorrow. Will continue through our weekend until this high pressure nudges itself a little bit closer to us, and that will allow a warming trend as we start to move in late weekend through the week next week. So we are going to see some changes shifting, but we are going to be stuck in this pattern at least through the weekend. But for the next 12 hours in downtown LA, we're going to be looking at the low 70s because we've seen plenty of sunshine there so far today, and then the low 60s overnight all the way until early tomorrow morning, waking up to that fog once again before it burns off. So highs today looking pretty good. We've got 74 in Fullerton, 75 in Simi Valley, 83 in Santa Clarita. Look at that, 95 degrees in Palmdale. So toasty in the Antelope Valley, 86 in Riverside compared to 66 in Laguna Beach, where it is still a little bit foggy. So extended for the LA and OC metro area. Morning fog, afternoon sun, and then you can see by midweek next week, once that high pressure really starts to take hold, we start to flirt with 80 degrees. So we are going to warm up, but we're going to be stuck in a rut for at least the next 5 or 6 days with the same weather pattern. As we take a look at the valleys, we're going to actually cool as we go into the weekend, and then we'll start to bounce back up again by midweek next week. And for the Inland Empire, you folks always clear first, so you're a little bit warmer in the mid to upper 80s. And then look at that, the first 90 on the board for you as we head into next week. So a little cooler, and then we'll be looking at a big warm up as we head into next week. Believe it or not, Juan, I can't believe we're saying goodbye to May.
I know, June 1st on Saturday. All right, thanks so much, Marina. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks for joining us. I'm Juan Fernandez. We back live at 4 with the very latest on the Trump verdict and reaction to it right here on CBS News Los Angeles.